Okay, hello YouTubers. I guess you already know this knife from milling the fuller. It was this knife blade which I milled, and as you already saw in this video, it's a pretty tiny knife. I would say one of the biggest knives ever made. Really, knives and folding knives, of course, at all. It's the biggest ever made, and I chose a handle wood. After a long discussion, first I thought I'm gonna make an aluminum plate here. That's why I have so many threads in here. First wanted to make an aluminum block here, an aluminum block here, and in between wooden scales or some pine cone scales or whatever. But I decided this knife needs very sturdy, very hard, very tough handle scales. We have 2.5 millimeter thick liners on this knife, hardened to 60 HRC, so it's a little bit overdone, but for a big knife you want it sturdy, you want it hard, you want it good, so I make it sturdy, hard and good. And as you see, I already formed the scales. I cut them out of a piece, out of one piece. It was one solid piece close together like this, and I cut it out, split it in half, and milled it down with my fly cutter. Works pretty well. I cut them out with my bandsaw, and after that my belt grinder. I just finished the surface so it fits perfectly to the handle scales. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna make the bolts. Here I need an 8 millimeter bolt, and the length should be about this 5 millimeters, plus the washers, plus 2.5, 5 millimeters, so 10.5 millimeters. And here the same, just at this bolt we're gonna make a 12 millimeter bolt and an M6 thread through the bolt. So we have M6 cap screws here, and what I need to do also is screw away the handle scales and drill this hole through, but not through the whole handle scale, only into the handle scale about 3 millimeters, so the head of the screw will fit in. And here it will be this head fitting into between in the hole here in the handle scale, so it disappears, you won't see it. And this one you will see, and here we only make a bolt, and these two fall away because I cut away this piece because I needed the space for the spring. This is an old tension spring which I forged. It was about 4 millimeters thick. I needed it 3 millimeters, so I forged it out to a straight piece, hardened it completely new, and tempered it at about 320 degrees, and then ground it round to the shape I needed. Here a flat side, so it springs a little bit. It has now not as much tension as it had before when I take away here a little bit material. And here I took away a little bit of steel also, because otherwise it would harm the blade when it's coming down here. It's pretty close, and yeah, it works pretty well. So as I said, next thing I'm gonna do is making this bolt, and drilling out the holes for the heads, so you also won't see the axis screw in the end. You only will see these screws here, this 10 pieces. That should be enough, and then we will see. Now that I have all the washers and the bolts and everything finished, I guess nothing is missing, and now we can just pre-assemble the piece for once. Next thing I'm gonna do is finish the handle scales, and these get rounded out a little bit and then polished on the buffing wheel, the corners, so they get very nice, smooth, round, everything. Then I'm gonna finish up this piece also, just round it out at the corners a little bit and give it a buff. And then I'm gonna make the blade and then the handle scales, and then the whole knife should be finished. Okay, now I'll make these two copper washers. It should fit like this. Okay, now I take these two washers, put them on the piece here, and I'm gonna stick the whole thing into the knife. And I'm having a 6mm bolt here. I don't know where my magic bolt is. Ah, here it is. Okay, and I'll take my magic bolt and center all the pieces. Now push this bolt through. Okay, now I'm gonna center the pieces down here. Yep. And push in the second bolt. Should be pretty easy now. And I'm gonna attach the first screw here a bit so it can get the part unwanted. And now the last bolt only. Yep. Now I'm tightening this screw. The other side. The one side again. Okay. Now the main axis screw is tightened. Just put the 4mm bolt in here. Just control it. Yeah, it's tight. Okay, now the whole knife should work. It works pretty good. It's just a little bit here. It's touching the liners. That's just such a big blade. You cannot make it without a tiny warp, and it's good. It's just such a tiny warp, but it is. And as you see, blade itself looks pretty awesome, pretty nice. It works well, it holds up very nice. Okay, pretty good. Okay, now tightening all the screws. I have to say, this is a really heavy knife. Okay. Now, I would say this is a knife. If you compare my hand with it, this is a knife. Closed 28 centimeters, exactly, pretty exactly 27.5, and opened up. It is about pretty exactly 50 centimeters. It looks pretty awkward. I have to say, it's really nice that it flips open with one hand. You just need to give it a nice push and it gets open completely. It's very nice. It's extreme handy. It's holding very well. That's the wood. The Guayac wood. I really love it. Awesome. And let's see. Ooh. Yeah. Just sit. extremely sharp. Now some scratches. Fucking paper. Okay. Now I would say this is a pocket knife which I'm proud to wear in my pockets, and it almost pulls your pants away. But it's a nice thing, and for survival situation you can chop with it. This blade here, front piece is very thick, and the back piece is a bit thinner and sharper, but the whole blade is completely sharp at all. And yeah, came out as I wanted. I really like the knife. I really like the wood, the grain of the wood. This guayak wood is a very beautiful piece. I really love it. Now, I'm going to tell you how heavy the piece really is. And it has 1.35 kilograms. That's 2.99 pounds. It has exactly 3 pounds. So that's pretty awesome. It's a 3-pound knife. You can always use it as a hammer also. But no, it's a knife, it's a chopper. It's a very, very sturdy blade. A very mean piece. Now, I hope you liked my video. Please give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more extreme and awesome projects like this. And thanks for watching.